I have to know, when you were in grade school and the teacher told you that you could become anything you want, did you think giant piece of shit right away, or did that happen later? Hello, and welcome back to a show that says after 12 beers, I give up. I don't give a fuck where Waldo is. Here on the PeterPod Network! Season 2!
Because your theory is we're going to go down there and have a donkey barbecue and I'm going to furnish the ass, right? You are not. You don't know where that's been.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the PeterPod Network. I am PeterPod. He's Will in the back. And if our mascot, Melissa Cody, a.k.a. the butt slut, had a dick of her own like many people suspect, then she could finally suck at everything. Before we get too far into the show, I just want to recognize and send a big hello and thank you to some new listeners who wrote in from the Virginia area. Can't say we saw that coming. We won't share the picture without permission, but judging by the accompanying photo you sent with your email, 1, you have horrible taste in men if you're barking up my tree, and 2, Virginia is definitely for more than just lovers, and this is just basing this on how you positioned your leg, but Virginia is also for horny and very drunk amateur gymnasts, which if we're being honest is a better state motto anyways. It definitely makes for a better t-shirt. If you'd like to reach out and say hello wherever you are, if you want to let us know what you like or what you didn't, or if you're like our lovely listeners in Virginia and have a great butt slut joke and some home pornography you'd like to send in, that's a joke by the way, kind of. I won't lie, when we opened up the email before the show and saw a fucking human pretzel, well, I'll just say our little office here at the Four Wall Studio is currently looking for a picture frame. So like we were saying, if you want to contact the PeterPod Network, you can email us at thepeterpodnetwork@gmail.com. Remember the THE, he ain't speaking to me. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on the platform you're hearing us on and give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, which admittedly we could spend more time on. And also find us on Amazon, Spotify, Samsung Podcasts, YouTube, and essentially everywhere podcasts can be found. Except Apple. I keep saying it. Our love may be cheap, but it ain't free. If Apple doesn't give up the free shit, then we're not giving up the love. Which is hilariously just like a girl I dated right after college. Fairly certain that girl would have used her haunted vagina to fuck a flagpole for a free iPhone. To see and hear everything PeterPod Network related, go check out the archives at PeterPodNetwork.com. There you will find the songs, the art, and every episode, including those you can't find anywhere else. You can also immerse yourself in the juvenile antics of New Hampshire's shittiest little show. All the hits, the shits, and every bit from the PeterPod Network. All right, now that we have that knee-deep bullshit out of the way, why don't we get this fucking show started? And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who insists there's something other than ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, earthworms, I guess. Whatever, may we present to you King of the Jackholes! Well, I guess you know we're about to piss somebody off. Yes, the King of the Jackholes is back, and we have a humdinger of a fuckwad to talk about. So without further delay, may I present to you this week's King of the Jackholes. He is the only insecure asshole to ban Winnie the Pooh because the resemblance to him was just too much for him to handle. He is a man who was just elected himself to a third term in office. And he is now a man who heard the news Vladimir Putin was just charged with humanitarian war crimes and immediately thought, now that's a guy I want to have lunch with. If you haven't guessed by now, this week's King of the Jackal is none other than that half a retard president of China, Xi Jinping. And we're just putting this out there. Maybe if that communist Chinese goblin could stop being such a massive cocksucker, then maybe his face won't look like he's worried the gerbil will escape his chocolate factory. Seriously, if there's ever a face that screamed future resident of San Francisco, it'd be his. With that said, we have a little advice for the most likely to become a first ever homosexual Marvel supervillain. Who is writing this shit? Well, the world feels a lot better when you stop hiding who you really are. Just admit you're gay. We should probably mention that when we were researching this particular jackhole, we came across a mountain of stuff that just couldn't possibly be covered fully in this segment. So we decided, let's just cover the stuff that pissed him off the most. I mean, he has given so much to the world, like COVID and genocide. Gotta love that genocide. So where do we begin? Where do we start? Well, I suppose we could start with the fact that Winnie the Pooh is no longer allowed in China. Literally. Winnie, Eeyore, Rabbit, Piglet, and all the rest are on that no-fly list for China because President Butthurt just didn't like that his own citizens started saying that he looked like our favorite honey-guzzling yellow bear. And naturally, the characters were banned because his own people liked the bear better. This is also the same kind of a man that doesn't even know how he got placed into power to begin with. Previously quoted as saying that he was elected into power by the Chinese people, President Mongoloid seems to have forgotten the rest of the world does know that free elections don't actually occur in China. And his presidency is basically based on people not wanting to be murdered by him. But give him credit, President Ladyboy did what could never happen in almost any other country than China, and maybe Russia. Alright, probably Russia. If you see something that seems wrong, you only have to complain once and the government really does step up. Usually it's to murder you and your family because, you should have kept your dumbass mouth shut. But you could get lucky and your kids could be sentenced to life in what is essentially a torture dungeon. Apparently China really does care about your kids. So much so, in fact, that while most countries say, let kids be kids and enjoy their childhood, China stepped up and said, fuck that. Who's going to work in our sweatshops? And these world-famous Chinese sex trafficking rings don't employ themselves. Children really are the future in China, but that's mostly because President Piece of Shit keeps committing genocide on their parents. When we started writing this segment, we were going to roast this ass hat for meeting with Russia's President Tiny Dick, right after a criminal court issued a warrant for his dumbass for humanitarian war crimes. And then we started researching and very quickly found out that going to see the old Russian horsefucker was like number 192, 193 maybe, on the list of fucked up shit that President Pooh Bear has committed. Like that pesky genocide we mentioned earlier. After 9/11, America was seen as horribly Muslim-phobic by a large portion of the world as a reactionary sentiment filled the country, and everyone was afraid to get on a plane with anyone wearing a turban. Which I'm pretty sure isn't even a Muslim thing, but whatever. No one ever accused Americans of being the world's smartest. But when these stories started circulating the world that America was anti-Muslim, President Micropenis said, hold my beer, and then went about murdering entire peaceful Chinese Muslim communities in an effort to make sure their families cannot make more peaceful Muslim communities. Yeah. The list goes on, but we think it's a pretty safe bet that the only choice this week for the biggest piece of shit is Chinese President Xi Jinping, otherwise known as King of the Jackholes. Recently, we've had to make some difficult decisions here at Drunken Advantage Malt Liquor, and we've had to let go of our spokesman, Jeff McConaughey, due to his recent conviction and certain incarceration. And all that fucking semen. Lord, so much fucking blood and semen. Well, Drunken Advantage Malt Liquor has chosen a new voice to carry us forward into the future. So please allow me to carry that torch, as the good old boys say. Hi, my name is T-Bone Sanders, third cousin twice removed from Mr. KFC himself. My cousin sells you chicken, and now I get you drunk. And may I remind you, we are the only hooch that doesn't bother with them fancy boy regulations. We have no idea what makes our secret malt recipe safe for consumption. Hell, I don't even think it is. But what we do know is on those freezing cold winter days when you can't be inside because there's work to do on the plantation and someone set all the workers free years ago. Well, what you need is the Drunken Advantage. When you turn on that goddamn TV and the news is showing you hundreds of hippie pussies tearing down a statue of your great-great-grandpappy right in the middle of Dixie, just because some Yankee somewhere said he owned too many people. Well, my friends, that's when you need the Drunken Advantage, I tell you what. Drunken Advantage Malt Liquor, because you might as well give them a reason to be mad. Drunken Advantage Malt Liquor does not, never has owned people. Unless you count children as people, then yeah, I guess we do. What are the words to the song? I don't know, but I'll carry on, because I've got something to say. And here comes the rant of the week. Hello and welcome back to another edition of The Rant. And this time we got a mystery on our hands, and seriously, we need your help. So gather everybody up and jump into the mystery machine. Scooby and the gang are here, and this week we ask, who the fuck is Edwin Baines? 2 weeks ago, the PeterPod Network received a phone call that we didn't answer because we had no fucking clue who it was, and, well, we sure as shit don't need to talk about our car warranties. The number actually sat for a couple days before someone in the office of the Four Wall Studio got bored and wanted to know who had called, which started this whole fucking mess. Our lovely desk person put the number into Google and did a reverse number lookup, and, well, do you know an Edwin Baines? Because we got no fucking idea who this motherfucker is, and Google is being very clear on who the number belongs to. Edwin Baines out of Massachusetts. So with the name Google gave us and a bit of whiskey on our breasts, we looked up Edwin Baines on Facebook. and one page stood out like a sore thumb shoved right up our asses. We're pretty sure we found Edwin Baines, but we feel safe saying Edwin Baines does not want to be found. We went through the entire page, which actually did not take much time at all because everything on it was empty. No profile picture, hell, no pictures at all, no post, no background image, nothing. The guy didn't even like or follow any titty pages like a normal adult would. And we know an empty page means nothing. Except there was one thing on the page. Now we have even more questions, such as, why does this completely empty page have 50 some odd friends? All with empty profiles as well, and they're all friends with various other pages that are all empty too. It took a few days of going through it all trying to find a root profile, something where maybe somebody slipped up and left some piece of information, or maybe something that just showed that it was the one that started it all. But as we were going through it, we noticed that all these profiles are all friends with each other and only each other. Not everyone is friends with everyone, but if you take the fucking tour jumping from one profile to the next in the friends lists and around each of these creepy profiles, you quickly realize this is a fucking community, and they really don't want anyone to know who they are and what they're up to. To be honest, we're kind of terrified that we uncovered a sex trafficking ring on Facebook or some kind of underground drug trade. We don't know. But now we are way too fucking curious to stop looking. So of course we reported what we found to Facebook, both directly and through Twitter, to up the odds that they would see this as soon as possible and we can get some answers. Well, guess who still hasn't even written back, and guess whose page is still up for God knows what reason. We also reached out to the Edwin Baines profile through Messenger since we were getting no help anywhere else, and we did that directly, and we got exactly what we thought we would. Nothing. None of the messages that we sent to a random number of these profiles received any kind of reply. So we are leaving this to you, the juvenile internet detectives, to listen to the PeterPod Network. One of you once hacked the OnlyFans page of a certain butt slut and deleted it from their servers without even being asked to. Surely you or someone else can go into Facebook, search Edwin Baines, choose the profile that has no profile picture. Now look at his friends list. Go into one of those profiles in the friends list. Now go into one of the profiles in the friends list of that page. Fucking creepy as shit, isn't it? You can go profile jumping from these friends lists for days. We know because we did. You'll only end up right back where you began. We are talking hundreds of empty profiles, if not thousands, who are all connected to each other and no one else. Facebook seems to not care about this at all, so it looks like it's up to the internet vigilantes to do some digging. Let us know what you find, and definitely let us know if you find something. This may be nothing, but in the history of creepy shit like this on the internet, there's a decent chance there's some fuckery going on. Have fun and don't break the law. And if you do, sure as shit, don't tell us about it. And let's see what can be found. Stay tuned for the news right after this. You gotta brave every storm you sail into. Now love the way it's always about the things that I do. Now when it's late at night and I've grown bored, you have such pretty hair, well not anymore, I love you. You can't be Max, I love you. I need deep emotional connections. I would just like it if you didn't talk so much. You like to tell me I don't listen. I said because it's always stupid stuff, but I love you. Don't hit me, I love you. I cannot wait until you have to do all the shit I do, and save the day for when I leave you. When I've had enough or you're not pretty anymore, I will pack my stuff and run screaming out the door. I love you. For now I love you. I need deep emotional connections. I would just like it if you didn't talk so much. You like to tell me I don't listen. I said because it's always stupid stuff, but I love you. Until I've had enough, I love you. bitch, I loved you. Thank God he's gone. There was no connection. One more day and I would have cut off his nuts. Now I don't have to pretend to listen. Thank God, because it was always stupid stuff. I loved you. Thank God you're gone, but I loved you. Coming to you live from the PeterPod News Station's world-famous Stage 5. Join our host in discovering what makes you tick, New Hampshire. Is your neighbor secretly running a Taiwanese brothel out of his basement? He is. Are they open when I get off work tonight? Yeah. Do we know if they accept checks? They do. Can someone call my wife and let her know I'll be late? On it. This is the PPN News. Hello, good evening, welcome to the PPN News. It appears that Goffstown is still dealing with the fallout from the last snowstorm that seriously fucked up the state of New Hampshire last week. Reports have come in that the Goffstown Sports Dome has collapsed as a result of high winds and heavy snow. And just by looking at the photos provided by WMUR, that fucking dome fell flat. Like Paris Hilton in a bikini, flat. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. The town of Goffstown has already made statements that they will find an alternate site or reconstruct the dome as it was. Which I'm sorry, but that's pretty fucking dumb. You made a building out of piping and plastic sheeting and thought it would hold up against over a foot of snow and winds measuring up to 60 miles an hour. And now you want to do it again, expecting different results next time. Fucking morons. In other news, did you know the NFL has ties to New Hampshire? A report was delivered to the PPN News desk detailing a 2014 grant for $500,000 fucking dollars supplied by the National Football League towards the HUDD program. Haven't heard of this before? That's because on its surface, it sounds like it was thought up by someone who's on the spectrum, if you get what we mean. So what is HUD? Well, and try not to laugh too hard at this, the NFL is using the UNH football team to test out the theory that if you remove the helmets from the game of football, the game will become safer. I know, it hurts my head too. No pun intended. Now there is a reason why they believe this. They say that if the players aren't wearing their helmets, then they won't use their heads while they tackle somebody. We can only imagine you are thinking the same thing we are, as graduates of an American public school, as people who have been to a high school party. We can tell you with 100% certainty, there will always be some fuckhead doing stupid shit. Apparently the NFL has never been to Florida. And finally tonight, 5 Newport and Sunapee, New Hampshire residents are going to fucking jail. We can only say, hopefully for a really long fucking time. While the state waits to hang a murder charge on someone, probably being one or more of these fucks, Christopher Iotti Jr., Jacob Iotti, Laurel Iotti, Candace Fontaine, and Ryan Palmer were all hit with Class B felony charges for conspiracy to commit falsifying physical evidence and, we love this one, Class A misdemeanor charge for conspiracy to commit abuse of a corpse. So basically, 5 fuckheads walked into the woods and did something you would never think of doing with a dead body. Which is not only the beginning of a really great joke, but also the plot to the latest Walking Dead parody porn movie. Don't ask us how we know that. Police are saying what actually happened is that they are trying to cover up a crime scene to hide the murder from being discovered. The rest of us are saying these special need meth heads are fucked. Police are also saying they're still investigating that there is no threat to the public. But since no one has been charged for the actual murder, well, sleep well, Newport. Oh, and go look this one up on the interwebs. With this story, the mugshots alone are worth the price of admission.
Hey everybody, this is T-Bone Sanders here again to tell you about that special taste and even stronger aroma of the only malt liquor that can also be used in your car battery. Here at Drunken Advantage Malt Liquor, we pride ourselves in knowing exactly where all our ingredients come from, like the alley out back, for instance. Half the crap that we put in every drop of Drunken Advantage Malt Liquor is, in fact, actual crap. During our fermentation process, right after the skin slides off to stray cats, all that extra flavor and secret family recipe key components slide right out of its colon and break down in the finest malt liquor not legally allowed for sale. So when your child's school would like to know what the large belt buckle shaped bruises on their back, now you go toss your favorite belt buckle off a bridge. When you now have to find a nice quiet place to leave your wife's gossiping fucking body because she talks to Child Protective Services a little too much. Well, my friends, that's when you need The drunken advantage, if I do say so myself. There's just something about our famous drunken advantage malt liquor that seems to make those times when life seems to just be a cruel bitch that she is, seem just a little easier. It's probably the kerosene and radiator fluid we use in every bottle. But since we sure as shit ain't paying for it to be tested, we'll never know. So the next time you feel that the world's got you by the balls, then you look down and realize it's actually sweet Miss Gloria's Pitbull Tinkerbell. And she's really got a good clamp on your shit. And there appears to be a little blood. Can someone get this fucking dog off my dick, please? Thank you.
Drunken advantage malt liquor, because that fucking dog just took away my ability to have kids.
Listen to stories from around the world. Sit back and relax with your girl. Try not to laugh until it hurts. Welcome to another edition of our world.
And we are back with another edition of Our World, which if you've been listening to this shitty little show for more than a few episodes now, you know. Our world is just our little way of saying, well, we can't all be winners. First off tonight, 57-year-old Jeffrey Stewart from Boston showed his love in all the wrong ways for the old cartoon show, Tom and Jerry. Anyone who grew up with the Three Stooges type cartoon starring that lovable, sexually frustrated cat Tom, trying to finally rid his home of that homicidal brown mouse Jerry, who frankly did deserve to die. That's right, I said it. That fucking mouse is chewing holes in the wall. He gotta go. That old black lady knew. From all perspectives, it appears that Jeffrey Stewart knew all about that lovable cartoon duo and thought, well, hell, if the cartoon version was awesome as a kid, then a real-life version would be epic as an adult, which is really just another reason why we have to stop using that word. But anyways, this motherfucker went and got himself a pet store rat, called him Jerry, and is actually known on the MBTA for getting pissed drunk, losing his shit on other riders, and waving good old Jerry in their faces. As a fun bonus, he also threatened to kill the cop who arrested him last time. That's Jeffrey Stewart. Just one more reason why New Hampshire would really rather go without Massachusetts folks for a while. In other news, TMZ says it has found a fifth plane that was intended to be hijacked on 9/11. And according to one pilot, he lived in denial for years before coming to the conclusion that he came about a dick hair's width away from going boom like everyone else that day. For those who don't know, the celebrity gossip news site TMZ released an investigative news documentary about Flight United 23 that stated that this plane was intended by a separate group of hijackers to be the fifth plane used during the tragic events of 9/11. Allegedly, box cutters were found on the plane, and reports of erratic passengers and an open hatch really do lead to suspicions that there was more that could have happened on that day America will never forget. More troubling, though, are reports of bad guys on the ground who are part of the ground crew. Two things. Why the fuck haven't we heard about this one long ago? And why are you expecting me to make a joke? Former President Donald Trump claimed early last week that he would be arrested this past Tuesday after a grand jury concludes in the matter of alleged illegal payments to porn whore Stormy Daniels. And as of now, it hasn't happened yet, leading many to wonder, did Donald Trump just figure out how to get stupid to shut the fuck up? Don't get us wrong, the PPN News is a completely unbiased organization, and we have no plans to endorse or vote for Donald J. Trump for president. But we're pretty sure that motherfucker made the New York District Attorney's Office shit itself. That has to be the biggest presidential pimp slap of all time. While we don't think it will win the former president the election, even we have to admit, that was fucking funny to watch. Especially since the whole thing really does appear to be a smear campaign to make the former president look bad before an election. Dude fucked the porn star, and now the porn star wants more money. Why are you pissed at him? She's the prostitute who couldn't stick to the deal. And before you send in the hate mail, she had sex and wanted money for doing it. That's a fucking prostitute. Tell me how it's not. And in a related story, Stormy Daniels is reporting that she is receiving death threats after former President Donald Trump announced that he would be arrested last Tuesday. And everybody else is wondering why she's surprised. She had sex for money, that was literally in contract form, when she accepts money to shut the fuck up about having sex. And then decides to get on her fucking soapbox and force America to Google her and see the grossest belly tattoos that have ever existed. Seriously, look that shit up. I threw up in my mouth a little. Those stretch marks must have been fucking insane if she needed all that to cover them up. Now the PPN News would like to be clear. You shouldn't be sending people death threats. We support that in no way. Tell them how you feel, but let's keep that shit legal. And we should also add, how the fuck is she surprised? And lastly tonight, former child star Amanda Bynes is showing off her new fashion line, appropriately called Batshit Crazy, as she was taken into custody after wandering the streets of Los Angeles for days, and at one point at least, getting completely naked and letting all her fans see what being out of your fucking mind looks like. Bynes is currently being held at this time of this report on a psychiatric hold, and her release has not been set. As many remember, this is not the first incident involving Amanda Bynes getting a little too jiggy with it, as proven by that dumbass heart tattoo on her face. We do want to make sure not to make light out of mental illness. It is an important issue that should be handled with maturity and caring. But either everything is funny or nothing is funny, and that crazy-ass lunatic wombat is fucking hilarious. We load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. Be brave and strong as we roll along, the seas make masters go poor. But now that we stop by a port to drink and sample the whores, we load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. We load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. When the ocean storms bring us ashore so that the ship doesn't sink, we'll wrap our arms around the oar and sing while we drink. We load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. We load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. We load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. Be brave and strong as we roll along, the seas make masters go poor. But now that we stop by a port to drink and sample the whores, we load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. When the ocean storms bring us ashore so that the ship doesn't sink, we'll wrap our arms around a whore and sing while we drink. We load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. We load the ship, we drink a cup and raise a toast to you, the ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. The ones that we leave behind so we can do what we want to. And that is another episode of the PeterPod Network put away, and trust me when I say, I'm going to keep this shit brief because I got fucking stuff to do. I can also tell you we are already working on episode 7, but this really has been a fun episode 6. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this shit. Thank you again to Ann and company in Virginia. That really was pretty fucking awesome. Send in your email to thepeternetwork@gmail.com, and here's your warning. We right back, and we are giant fucking assholes. Hit the subscribe button and follow us on all the major socials, as well as Amazon, Spotify, Samsung Podcast, and more. Find the archives at PeterPodNetwork.com to see everything you missed and relive the classic moments where we said something we probably shouldn't. So for Will in the back, I am PeterPod, and our mascot Melissa Cody, aka the Butt Slut, just announced that she is canceling her world tour early and apologizes. But being a fucking cunt everywhere she goes is getting fucking exhausting. Have a great week, and we will talk to you next Monday, only on the PeterPod Network. Here we are with what you want, even if you don't. I've already had too much to drink, and I might be a little stoned. They're ready to be stupefied by a story about your mom. And maybe you'll realize that we just don't give a fuck. Just trying to have some fun. Just trying to have some fun. No, we don't care. We
No